to Live from the Laundry Room, the show where we catch up with some of our favorite friends, our college professionals, our education partners, really anyone that will jump on a Google Hangout with us and dive into this craziness. We are so pumped to have our friend David Clark from the Jackson State Community College on with us today. David, first off, before we dive into Jackson State, tell us, how are you doing during social distancing and quarantine?
I'm doing really good. I am older than most of the people obviously graduating high school, and I remember what that was like at that age because I'm sure a lot of them are going crazy. Me, I like being home right now. This is
Well, I gotta say, we have handled the transition to working from home okay. Like we have definitely found ways to keep busy, but as me and my co-host Mary Lauren can attest, we are very extroverted, so we are missing getting out and just seeing people. I made a joke on Facebook that if you see me with headphones in public, it's really just so I'm not checking on you and your mama and all them and how they're doing, because I could just talk and stuff. So we're okay with this, but we are ready to head back to work. So tell me about Jackson State right now. We checked in with our buddy Sandy, Miss Sandy Stample over at the Lexington campus. Tell us about the Jackson campus. I know you guys are working from home. How has that been this last month with you guys working from home?
well, and we'll probably, yeah, I think our last day was March 22nd or 23rd. It's been what, oh gosh, over a month now being at home. We're definitely going to be out until at least the 8th or the 11th, as far as employees being on campus regularly. At that point, each director is going to make a decision as to who is vital, and I would assume there's probably only going to be one or two people who needs to be in the office. The campus itself for visitors and non-students is not going to be. It's not going to start until after at least May 30th, 31st is my understanding. We'll know more after April 26th. May
Obviously, yeah, I know
May
things daily
26th.
on that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this
so
is
tell us about.
definitely different for me.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Tell us about your students right now, because you work with a lot of dual enrollment students, right?
I do. And you know what has been, and what I hope that a lot of dual enrollment students are doing, I hope they're actually active in their courses. I know, a little background about me, where a lot of dual enrollment students are, I was not at that age. And if I had been in a course and this had happened, my mind would have been automatically to, I'm not in school, so I don't have to do the work. I really hope that they are definitely actively involved. A lot of the teachers, students who are already in a web course, obviously were already familiar with that format, but those going to a campus and then having to switch to it, it can be difficult. It can, because I know me, myself, I'm not the biggest fan of an online course. I like the interaction with a teacher myself. I like to go to class. I'm a procrastinator. I like to have motivation.
I am in an online school right now, and so it really didn't change anything for me. But I just think back, like starting an online program, I can't imagine being an 18, 19-year-old and actually doing a full online
Right.
program, especially when you spent the first semester just getting acclimated to being on campus and, just learning your way around, really. Um,
I
as we move as we move forward, what do you think like future dual enrollment students need to be doing? How can they prepare for their dual enrollment classes? What could you tell them to do to improve their chances of succeeding in those classes?
Well, for those that are rising juniors or seniors, especially juniors who've never done dual enrollment, if you need to apply, you can definitely apply on our website. There's an apply link at the very top, jscc.edu. Do the online app. If you have trouble with the online app, sometimes that happens. There is a paper application you can do. You apply as a high school dual enrollment student. It's very easy. Um, your high schools have been sending transcripts to us. Some of them are having a little trouble with ACT scores, but we will definitely work with students. I know something that's going to happen this year. is a lot of these students aren't going to have ACT scores or practice scores because of when this happened. Our governing body at the state level has made decisions that we can consider high school GPA and other factors. So it's going to be on a case by case basis for now. What I would do if I were a current student, just do the application. You can email recruiting at jscc.edu after you've done the app. If you have trouble with the app, if you need to know what to do about required documents, we will help. I'm actually part of that email chain. We're still processing just like normal, by the way.
Something that I do want to point out, you said you hope that your students are still, remaining active and stuff, that they're not shutting their mind off. Because I'm right there with you. If I was in high school right now, I would be very hard pressed to continue to do schoolwork, just
Right.
for being out this long. I will say I'm really pumped to report a lot of students I have checked with are still working on that dual enrollment. They understand the weight that dual enrollment has, that it's not just their high school GPA that's being affected, it's their college GPA. But I do want to ask, I totally don't expect you to know this number off the top of your head. But I know you guys with dual enrollment looks different, at a lot of different high schools. How many students do you think, or a roundabout percentage maybe, jumped from having to be in class to online? How many do you think had to make that jump?
Well, the good news is some of them were the high school professor or instructor who was eligible to teach the course. So how they transitioned, they're taking care of them in a slightly different way. But how many students were truly in just an online course that had to transition to it? I mean, the non-online actually was small. If you think, I would probably say 10 to 20% of our spring students, maybe.
That's what I was thinking, because when I contact students and I ask them, like, hey, I would check and I would say, how's your high school work going and how's your college work going? My high school actually at Lexington, they had coursework that was still, expected of them. And they said, well, the high school's going pretty well. Like, my economics class is now online, but my Jackson State class was already online. So no changes, very comfortable moving forward. So that's definitely an advantage that a lot of students had with that dual enrollment, is that a lot of them were already online and already had that expectation and that comfort level and all of.
And I'm, when I say 10 to 20%, you got to think we have around 1,200 little plus, of that. So, when you're talking about maybe 80 to 150 students that were taken online already, everybody else, the good news is a lot of teachers use the eLearn platform that we use. It's called D2L, but we call it loosely eLearn. A lot of the teachers were already using it. So to post assignments for just class courses. So the transition wasn't too hard for some of them. I know one of the biggest things, and some people will find this funny, I didn't have Wi-Fi until 2 years ago myself at home. I relied upon my mobile device, my mobile phone. That is a big one for a lot of people, is connectivity. Just the fact of having a laptop. Not everybody has that. It's really caused a lot of problems that a lot of people really didn't consider any time before this happened.
Absolutely. We have tried to reach out with and finding hotspots right now to even provide these students is very difficult, because obviously this is something that a lot of people are facing. And we thought it was really cool in our area. Spectrum is a main provider in our area, not the only provider, but a main provider. And they offered free internet for, I think it was 60 days if you had a student in the house, which was amazing. But a lot of our students that didn't have internet wasn't because they couldn't afford Charter. It was because, or Spectrum, is because couldn't get Spectrum where they lived, because we're in such rural areas at a lot of our high schools. And even a school like me in Lexington, everyone within the city could get it, but a lot of my students live further out in the country and couldn't.
Right.
So it's just been a test of finding internet.
Where I live. I'm in the western part of Henderson County. Easy access to a main road, connectivity should normally, when my spectrum is wonderful, it has slowed tremendously.
Oh yeah.
So I'm sure students are having that problem. And not just that, I live in a spot where you would normally think Verizon, AT&T would have great service where I'm at. There are dead spots even where I live, and I experience it. So I know if students are trying to do their work, it's going to be hard for them too.
Yeah, I can't imagine right now trying to, really get a hold of these online courses and such, because my spectrum has slowed down as well, and I understand because everyone right now is jumping online to complete so much things. I'm uploading and downloading terabytes of data with all this. So I can't imagine the whole spectrum of it trying to get things faster while also accommodating everybody trying to jump online. It's definitely shown us that internet's a necessity at this point in this day and age because of how this was our solution to adapting.
Right.
I want to jump before I ask you for a piece of advice. I do want to jump into I say this every show, my favorite segment of the show, which is what you doing at home. A lot of people that we've interviewed are working from home. And I always preface this the same. We know that working from home is not the same as just hanging out at home. But when quarantine's a special example, because when we get done finally from work and we separate, when I leave the laundry room and close my computer and set my cell phone aside, I can't go anywhere else. We are trying to social distance, so I can't go out and go do stuff. So that's led to a bunch of really funny quarantine habits, quirky quarantine stuff. We've built a lot of Legos on this show, not during the show, but Mary Lauren and I found a lot of things, diamond art, and recently I have picked up cooking more. I love to cook. I've always loved to cook, and I usually find time to cook dinner, but obviously I spend a little bit more time prepping dinner. So what I wanted to show for what you're doing at home is I got a new toy to cook with. I have a lot of I try to grill and stuff. So I have a new smoker, but I cheated and I got a pellet smoker. So this is my Pit Boss pellets for my smoker, and this is fruit flavored. What?
Cherry, apple, and maple.
Yeah. So we have smoked ribs, smoked wings, and pork loin, and they know when I get the bag of pellets out, my kids know we're going to be outside for a while. So I've told them, like, I'm going to work from outside. I take my laptop out there, and the kids can bring I've had to just blow their minds that they can bring inside toys outside. We've brought Legos outside. At one point, after hour 3 or 4 of smoking ribs, Nolan finally said, "Can I bring my Switch outside?" I said, "As long as you're sitting outside, sure." So that's what we've been doing. Is we've been grilling more and smoking meats more. Mary Lauren, what do you got today? What you got going on from home?
So we like playing video games, and I'm not going to say who did this, but someone jailbroke my Wii from whenever the Wii's came out. And I have every single Sega and Super Nintendo and classic Nintendo game that has ever been created. And that's basically what I do at night, because I'm not really big into Xbox games, but I'm tearing up some Super Nintendo games.
Yep, Nolan has been playing some Sonic. We've been trading back and forth on Sonic since that movie came out. So, David, what about you? What have you been doing at home? What are some hobbies or activities you've been picking up more of?
I love being outside. Love it. If I could show you around our house, I have created one of the biggest landscape efforts probably. Yeah. And when I get little time or I want to take a break, I just walk outside, look around, or, if it's after when I'm not working, I'll just go out and do projects. I have to say, if this had happened in November, December, January, I think the mental issue would be much greater for a lot of people. I think that the springtime has made this easier on, I think, the whole country, truly, because for me, it being nice outside, even cool when it gets down into around 60, it's still nice to be able to go outside with the sunshine.
Absolutely, man. We have I have done outside time with the kids so much, and we're not an outside family. We do play sports, we do get out and do some fun stuff, but we're not spend all the time that we can outside. We do play some video games and do things like that. But I tell you, it got so funny yesterday when we filmed this. Yesterday it rained, and my kids and I all outside as it was raining. We opened the curtain, we all pushed our head up against the glass and was like, man, can't go outside right now. Like, it was so, that's how much we've gone outside and how much they're loving it. Cause yeah, the weather has been beautiful. We've really gotten to know the back porch and the backyard way more during this. Which I think is a solid piece of advice to give people right now, is to enjoy this time outside. But I want to ask you if you have something that you would like to pass along as advice. This has been one of my favorite parts of the show as well, as we've been checking in with our friends just to see kind of how they're making it, how they're doing at home. And we've gotten some solid pieces of advice on that. What's something you would like to pass on maybe? And this could be aimed at your dual enrollment students, but this could be aimed at future students, or, like most, you can aim this at humanity as a whole. What's something you might want to pass on as a piece of advice?
A piece of advice isn't necessarily about just getting through right now, maybe, or about school, like
dealing with COVID-19. Yeah.
I know it's very serious. I do know that. I know when it originally happened, your numbers on your traditional flu virus are greater as far as deaths per volume, but the unknown factors about this disease and the fact that it causes some serious things that we don't know, staying at home is really good if you can do it. I know when you're 17, 18 years old, 19 even, some people early college, if you were like me, you desire to be around other people. And if you're home alone, if you're only child, if you're a lot of factors, it's hard. Taking care of yourself. If you don't exercise, maybe it's a good time to start. Mm-hmm. Walk. I did not at that age. I learned in my 20s that exercise is important. Eating right, cutting out bad habits. If you smoke, stop.
That's right.
I can speak from experience on that. But more than anything, try not to take it too hard. With your schoolwork, if you're dealing with something, talk to your teacher. He or she, I promise right now, is going to be more inclined to help. Even if I can help, if you're in a JSCC course, email me, dclark@jscc.edu. Watch me get 5,000. But, I mean, the biggest thing, just don't stress right now. It will pass. Some time will pass about this, and life will move on at some point, whether it's 6 months from now, a year from now. We all hope, but we just want to stay safe.
Absolutely. I think that's great advice for both a personal level and a student level, because we stress this to our students, and so many don't take that to heart until they're actually in a situation to communicate to their professors if they're in a bind, if they're in something, that professors and teachers are people just like they are, and they sometimes forget that and just place them in an authoritative role, and that's not always the case. That is
right.
That's something that we try to stress, is to say, like, if you're having trouble, reach out as soon as you're having trouble. That way you have the most time to deal with the scenario. Don't wait until it's stressed you out where you're pulling your hair out. Just to handle something that may have been as simple as an email. You never know until you try there. And yes, you talk about exercise and eating right. I got to say, I have not weighed myself, but I started making desserts during March that I called Q15. I called them the Quarantine 15, because I said, this is the 15 pounds you gained during quarantine. And they were delicious desserts, but I have to say, I'm very proud. In the last few days, we've turned the boat back around. We ate very healthy at the Turner household, January until about March 23rd. And as soon as we were quarantined, my family and I were actually quarantined for about 8 days because we came in contact with a positive case. When that happened, we threw all the healthy rules out the window, and my number one snack became pork rinds and spray cheese. It was the best possible junk food snack you could have. So we're very glad now to be back on apples and celery are our main snacks, grilling some chicken and vegetables and stuff. But you're right, though. This is the time to kind of reset and kind of get some bad habits you want to get rid of. It's time to it's the perfect chance to get rid of those. And it's the perfect time to pick up some new ones, make it part of your everyday. And that way, when we add things back on, we'll already have those habits set. I think they said 17 days in a row becomes a habit. So we got 17 days. We can't, we're looking at the end of May before even doing stuff. Graduations are happening. This is the time to start those 17-day habits to add them to your normal day life. Well, David, I appreciate so much you taking the time to hang out with us in the laundry room and just check in with us and update us on how you and Jackson State are rolling along. We'll obviously keep in contact as things continue to happen, because there's no rest for us. We will roll right on into summer and continue on into fall. But thank you so much for taking the time for us. And from all of us here in the laundry room, wherever that laundry room is, this is Jesse and Mary Lauren signing off and hoping that you stay safe and wash those hands.